Hi everyone, I'm going to try my best to do a video explaining how to use this calculating nutrition facts when using a recipe, because most of the time when we make something, we don't actually have all the nutrition information unless we individually go and add things up. So we are going to work together and explain a little bit on how to use this chart using a very simple recipe. So we are going to use the recipe of making a s'more. So I would say that you should have this chart in front of you. You should also have the PowerPoint presentation from yesterday, especially this daily reference value page, and pull up the s'mores labels. So the ingredients for s'mores include graham crackers, which I've provided the nutrition information for that, chocolate, here's the nutrition facts for the chocolate bar, and lastly, marshmallows. So the first thing we're going to do in filling out this chart is determine the ingredients. So we just went through that. Graham crackers is ingredient 1. Second ingredient was the chocolate bar, and lastly, marshmallow. Okay, then we're going to kind of work ourselves across the chart. So it's asking how many grams of fat. So I'm going to just look at fat for one ingredient, just to kind of make this video not be too long and cumbersome. And you'll be able to then figure out to fill in the rest. So we're going to look at the graham cracker. And so I find the graham cracker nutrition information, and it says there are 3 grams of fat. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to put in 3. Then it asks me how many servings are used. So we have to think about when we make a s'more, we're using 1 full cracker and breaking it in half. So on the nutrition facts, it says that the serving size is 8 crackers, which is equivalent to 2 full cracker sheets. So we are only going to use 1 cracker sheet. So we are using a half of a serving. So I'm going to put a half in here. Because I'm using half a serving for the graham cracker, I can put that in for all of the number of servings used. Okay. So now I need to calculate the total grams of fat used for my s'more in terms of from my graham cracker. So I'm going to take that 3 times 0.5 to give me 1.5. So I'm getting 1.5 grams of fat from the graham crackers in my s'more. I'm going to do that same process going across the table. Okay, now let's look at the chocolate bar. We'll do carbohydrates for the chocolate bar. So when I go to my chocolate bar, it says that there are 44 grams of carbohydrates. So I'm going to type in 44. Now I have to figure out how many servings am I using. 44 grams is for a full bar. I'm only going to use 3 of the small squares. Some of you might use half of a chocolate bar. I don't know how much you love chocolate. You'll determine that yourself. But for my example, I'm just going to use 3 of the chocolate bars. So that's going to be 1/4 of the chocolate bar. So 1/4, and that can be put into all of the serving size because I'm going to use the same serving size for all of it. Now to calculate the total carbs, I'm going to take 45 times the 1/4 to give me 11. You're going to do that same process for fats and proteins. We'll go to the marshmallow to look at protein. So here's the label for marshmallow. It says less than 1 gram. So we're just going to call that 0 because it's less than 1. So it's not really a number we have to worry about. I'm going to use 2 marshmallows for my s'more because I like a lot of marshmallow. Maybe you want to use 1. I don't know. You decide that again. But the serving size is for 4 pieces. So if I'm using 2 marshmallows, I'm going to use a half of a serving. 0 divided by a half is still going to be 0, but I can fill in the half servings for all of the others. Now remember, you still need to calculate, when you do this yourself, you'll still need to calculate the grams for all of these. I'm just trying to show you for each level. Okay, once I have all of that information in, I'm going to add up the total grams of fat that I use, the total grams of fat that I use, the total grams of carbs. So I'm going to tally up this column and put it right down here. So I think this was 1.5, this was 11, and this was 0. Okay, so now I have my totals down here at the bottom. I'm going to then find and put them in here. So the total grams of fat in my s'more was 1.5, the total carbs was 11, and the total protein was 0. Now it asks servings per recipe. I already calculated this to make 1 s'more, so my servings per recipe is 1. On the next assignment that we'll be doing, where you are making a full batch of puppy chow, you will have to determine how many servings you're going to make that batch make. So essentially, your whole batch of puppy chow might make 6 or 7 servings. You're going to have to figure that out based on how much you make. Okay, now I'm going to figure out how many grams per serving. So I'm going to take the 1.5 times 1 to give me still 1.5. 11 grams times 1 is still 11. 0 times 1 is still 0. So calories per gram. This is going to come right from the notes from yesterday. This is how many calories you get from the various ingredients. So fat gives us 9 calories, carbohydrates and proteins give us 4. So that's going to be 9, 4, 4. Calories per serving. So I need to know how many calories I'm getting from fat, how many from carbs, and how many from protein. To figure that out, I'm going to take my grams, 1.5 times 9 calories per gram. To give me 13.5. 11 times 4 equals 44. And 0 times 4 is 0. Okay, now I'm going to take this column and add it all up. So 44 plus 13.5 to give me 57.5. Okay, we remember from here that we need to round to the nearest whole number. So I'm going to round that up to be 60 calories for 1 s'more. Now keep in mind, these aren't actual numbers because I didn't finish filling in that chart. You'll need to make sure to do that. Okay. Your daily reference value. That information, again, comes from the notes from yesterday. Okay, daily reference value. We're focusing on fat, which is 65 grams. So 65 grams for fat. We go back and look at how many grams we can eat for carbs is 300. And lastly, protein. We look at protein, and protein is 50 grams. Okay. So now, to calculate this percent daily value, I have to look at the grams that were used divided by the daily reference value times 100. So for this instance, for fat, we're going to go 1.5 grams of fat divided by the 65 they say we can have in a day, multiplied by 100 to give me 2.3, which is going to round up to 3%. And do that same thing with carbs, 44, 11. We have 11 grams divided by 300 times 100 is 3.66 repeating, which is going to be Okay, we have 0 divided by 50, so that's 0% of our daily intake for protein. So based on using this chart and pulling together your serving size, how many grams you have of each of the fat, carbs, and protein, the calories you get and the total calories in the end, and your percent daily value, you have all the information you need to create a nutrition label that looks just like the nutrition labels that you used in calculating this information. If you have any questions, please reach out and I will do my best to help you. Have a great day.